What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am DeMarius Jackson and today we are going to be reviewing this Yamaha intermediate saxophone, the YAS-32. So, a while ago I did a review of the Etude beginner model alto saxophone. I'll leave a link to it in one of these corners up here. But I did that review as my son's saxophone. It was kind of after a year of playing. Well, I actually moved to Japan in between that time and now for my job, and unfortunately during the move, the saxophone was stolen. So here in Okinawa, Japan, I did a little bit of a search. There are a lot of secondhand stores and some pawn shops around the area, so I did a little search with my wife to try to find a new saxophone for my son. In that one store in particular, I came across this horn. It's the Yamaha, like I said, 32, and it's an intermediate level saxophone. So if you're in the market for a saxophone, or you're getting one for your child or something, they're just beginning to play, I would highly advise if you could find somebody that plays the saxophone and take them along with you to kind of play test it in the store. Now, if you've never been in Japan before, it's a very quiet place here. So I actually did get a chance to play test a horn in the store, but unfortunately, I couldn't play very loud. It would be rude, and I definitely didn't want to be that. But I like to go through a series of tests when I'm looking at saxophones potentially to buy. One of those tests is to see if it seals. So if I'm not playing it, you can very easily just go down the horn and play one key at a time. And hopefully that came through, but basically I'm going down the horn to see if I can actually hear an audible pop and almost the tone of the popping of my fingers coming down change on the horn. Now, no test like that is going to be foolproof, but I did get a good sound of it, and I got a really good feeling about it. Another thing is I tried to listen to clacking of keys. Now, this one actually did have some clacking. Like I said, if you don't play the saxophone, it could be major or minor, but I'll do this right here. But you hear that kind of brassy sound? Let's see if I can get it in a microphone. Something like that is actually caused from up here, and I actually see it's a cork, but that's a really simple fix. Or a lot of times it just could be felt that is missing in between the pads here. Like this is a good area to check for. And there's a little piece of a felt missing. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good horn just off the rip. So I decided to buy it. It actually went for, let me look. So yeah, this horn actually went for 39,900 yen, which is equivalent to about $365. So if you do a quick search online, you'll find that this horn, the YAS-32, is actually the YAS-52, which is another Yamaha intermediate saxophone, which is actually an older model of the current intermediate saxophone, which is, I believe it's a YAS-480. And the YAS-480, once again, if you look online, those horns could go anywhere from $2,000 and up. So you can see why I'm excited to get a horn like this at such a discounted price. Now, I'm not totally discouraging buy a new horn. However, if you're on a budget like me, this is a good horn that's rugged and will stand the test of time. No lie, I had a friend who had the same exact horn, put a neck strap on, don't get any ideas, on the instrument, literally flung it like a lasso, tossed it up in the air, caught it, and then we went on throughout the year playing like nothing ever happened. Now, I'm not saying to do that, and I'm definitely not testing that on this horn, but I will say that that Yamaha, my first horn at YS-23, got me all the way up from, I would say, 7th grade to about 10th or 11th grade. That's when I stepped up into an intermediate horn. And another thing that I look for when I'm looking at new horns is any kind of dents or dings. Now this is going to be not necessarily easier to see, but you can tell, I'll do a close-up of the saxophone. This horn actually has no engraving on it. And just from me looking at it, I mean, it has a couple of scratches on it. There's some tarnish from the lacquer. Looks like it uses a clear lacquer. But other than that, it's actually in pretty good condition. Another thing to look for in buying a saxophone is what's going to protect that saxophone, and it's the case. Now, this is bringing back some memories. This case that we have for the Yamaha 32 is the exact same case as my first saxophone that I had back in the mid to early 90s. And I will say, I was a kid. I used to actually sit this up and sit on it at the bus stop. Please discourage your children from doing that. But once again, this is a It's a pretty sturdy case. It's not meant for sitting, but I will say that it didn't actually damage my horn, at least noticeably damage my horn that I remember from being a child. So this horn did come with the standard 4C Yamaha mouthpiece, which is good for beginners. It's actually the first thing that I used. Funny story, I used to bite down really hard and it ended up having a ridge in it, so that's why I ended up replacing it. But if you're a beginner, it's pretty good. I'm going to be using my Drake mouthpiece that I've talked about in other videos, and immediately off the rip I can tell that I'll probably get this cork fixed for my son and see if his mouthpiece fits on there. One thing that you want to be careful of is not having a lot of play and the cork in your mouthpiece seal. If you can tell like that, it goes on like very easily and comes off. And that should be a simple like $20 fix, I would say, if you take it to an instrument repair technician out there. So let's do this. I'm gonna play test this and you'll be privy to the first hearing of this, where I actually put a mouthpiece on and play it at a kind of full volume without being soft and respectful. And we'll see what it sounds like. Hopefully it's good. I have a pretty good feeling it is. And if not, I know a couple of repair technicians that will hopefully be able to take care of it for me. Here we go. Oh yeah, there's definitely a leak down in the lower register. Alright, so one thing that I do notice is the action is a lot lighter than my horn that I have back here, my Eastman. So what I mean by lighter is the springs don't feel as springy. I like a tighter feel under my fingers personally, but that's kind of individual. If you're a beginner, it won't mess you up or anything, but that could be one thing to look at. Spring tension, talking about that with an instrument repair technician. And like I said, somewhere down in that lower stack, it actually has a leak. I can tell when I subtone. I try to subtone notes, and a lot of times if they don't speak clearly, that's indicative of a little bit of a problem down there. But other than that, let's try the upper register. But the other thing I failed to mention that I also look at are the pads. So pads can cost you a couple of dollars. It doesn't have to be ridiculously expensive. But when I'm talking about the pads, we're talking about this actual brown leather. Once again, I'm treating this if you don't play saxophone. So the brown leather thing's right there underneath it, and they also have resonators in them. So pretty much, actually, I think all Yamaha horns have these plastic brown resonators. But we're looking for any kind of rips or tears, and that's going to be the main determining factor, if you will, on whether a note, your keys seal, and if the instrument will play those particular notes. A lot of times it's a regulation issue. So here we go. Bottom line is this. For $365, I think it's an excellent purchase. I can go anywhere online and see that even this older model, YAS-32, is probably going for at least $1,000. You can probably find it pretty cheap, maybe on eBay. I'll try to search out a couple of sites and put it on the screen here for $800. But considering all I need to do is get a couple of things regulated, it probably will need a few pads, but just looking at it off the rip, it doesn't look like it needs that many. This is a great horn. It feels great under my fingers, and once again, it's made by a reputable company, and Yamahas are just fantastic. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Check out a link to my other videos all around here, and subscribe, hit the like button, comment. I'll see you on the next video. Out.